Is there a moment on set you and Dustin shake hands, bygones be bygones? Was there any of that? Break bread? Any interactions?
There was.
There was. We'll move along now and say hello to our next guest. He is the star of the upcoming Roadhouse 2. Who would have thought? When I asked him to come on, I had no idea. I had no idea that this was a thing. He's the one and only Michael Chandler, who's kind enough to join us on this Wednesday afternoon. Movie star now? What's happening here?
Yeah, you never know, man. It's just it all came together pretty quick. I mean, obviously, I've known about my involvement possibly for a really long time, but yeah, flew on out to location about 10 days ago, and now I'm back for a couple days, and I go back out there. But yeah, I did know when we booked this, but I wasn't going to break any kind of
No.
news. You probably already knew, Ariel.
I did not. You, Woodley told me he was on a movie set. And he mentioned you, but I had no idea what this was. And so could I ask, how did you like you, Woodley, and also you and Dustin on the set together?
Yeah.
What's happening there?
Hey, me and Poirier are mending fences, man.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, we have had a good working relationship on set together. I mean, it's all water under the bridge at this point. But yeah, I mean, you talk about me, Rico, Verhoeven.
Yep.
Tyron Woodley, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, MVP.
Wow.
Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, yeah, man, it's been one of the main characters, the guys from The Raid. Man, just really, really cool cast. Obviously, some notable names who are fighters, who also have some decent acting chops. Yeah, man, it was an absolute blast, and we still got a lot more filming to do.
Is this your first movie?
Not my first. I've done a couple, but this is my first one. I don't want to give away too much. My first one with a decent amount of involvement. We'll put it that way.
And no sign of Conor McGregor on set.
I did not see Conor out there.
Okay.
You're not sure if he's going to be on in the movie or not. We'll see.
And when does this come out?
I actually don't know, man. I just you know me, man. I'm a nose to the grindstone kind of guy. We're filming. We're gonna, and then they got to go through the editing process and the promoting.
Okay, so it's still a ways away.
Sometime in yeah. I mean, we're just in the filming process right now. So toward the end of 26 or maybe early 27.
Okay,
not quite sure. So you got to ask Jake Gyllenhaal or someone else like that.
By the way, shout out to you on the old school Hulk Hogan lunchbox behind you. This is a relic.
Yeah, actually, I got to bring this up because you'll actually.
I love that.
You'll love this. This actually was mine.
Wow.
From 1988. Betty Chandler, my mom, wrote this in there back in 1988, 89. WWF.
Wow.
Thermos. So it's actually really funny, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners or even yourself will attest to this. Moms and dads keep all kinds of junk. I'm like, Mom, Dad, throw all that junk away. Don't ever bring it to my house. I got too much stuff in my house. And she's like, well, I got a few things, and she brought my All-American plaque and some of my awards. And she's like, and I also have this Hulk Hogan lunchbox. And I was like, thank God you didn't throw that away. Because, yeah, I mean, that ink from that Sharpie has been in there for freaking 30 years.
Oh, my God.
So pretty cool, man.
I love that. Were you watching the cartoon back in the day as well? Do you remember that? Or was that before your time?
No, I think it was a little before my time.
How old were you in 88?
88, I was 2 years old.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right.
This says Titan Sports trademark, 1989. So
unbelievable. I love that. That's amazing. Put it back up there. I like looking at it behind your show. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And a great segue. A great segue, by the way, because they announced very recently Real American Freestyle Wrestling, or going back to your roots, which is the promotion that the late great Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff and Chad Bronstein set up, that you're going to be competing. How did this all come about? There it is, November 29th against Chad Mendes of all people.
Yeah, Chad Mendes, man. Chad and I believe we're about a year apart. So obviously I watched him wrestle in college. We became friends and cordial after years after, obviously, when he was fighting and stuff. Similar guys, similar foundation, similar wrestling, in your face, nonstop action. And yeah, I mean, my managers reached out and they said, hey, what do you think about a wrestling match? I'm like, hey, I know what Real American Freestyle is. I watched it, saw Bo compete, saw a couple matches, and man, I would not be sitting here talking to you had it not been for the sport of wrestling, and then me taking a chance of walking on to the University of Missouri, becoming an All-American there, and then and that trajectory leading me toward mixed martial arts and all the success and ups and downs and this beautiful life that I've built. So it'll be, it's somewhat nostalgic. Like, I mean, I think that's part of it too. I mean, I love the sport of wrestling. I owe the sport of wrestling so much. Every single time I tie on my wrestling shoes, I get a different feeling than when I'm tying on my boxing gloves or I'm putting on my shin guards. There's just something different about putting on those wrestling shoes. So I'm excited to go out there and compete. Chad Mendes is a perfect opponent. We're going to come, obviously we're the main event, so we are the big wrestling match on the card, but we're going to come to steal the show, and we're going to put on a great show for the fans. And I'm learning through the rules. The rules constantly change year after year. I got Mike Hatcher here in town, who's got a Young Guns Wrestling Club. So I'm training with those guys. Got a bunch of bodies to work out with, and I'm coming for gold, man.
And so, just curious, last time you competed in a wrestling match, how long ago would that have been?
An actual sanctioned wrestling match would have been March of 2009. March of 2009, wow. When I right here got the 5th place trophy in St. Louis, Missouri, of all places, my senior year, and then graduated in May of 2009. I threw my first punch in March of 2009 after I got done, started hitting mitts and training with Tyron and Ben and those guys. Graduated in May, fought my first fight in August of 2009. Last time I was on your show, I think you brought up that I just celebrated my 16-year anniversary of August of 2009. And but obviously, I've been wrestling ever since. It's part of what we do. But Real American Freestyle has some interesting. They don't have their own interesting rules. Obviously, there's just the freestyle international rules. So it's gonna be fun. It lends itself to nonstop action. We'll put it that way. So I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna score some points. Look for some big throws. And it's gonna be a lot of fun, man.
Is this all kind of gravy to you, or are there some nerves because it's been 16 years? Not since you competed, but like in an actual match with points that count, where another guy is trying to beat you. How do you view this?
It's interesting. I mean, I think it's kind of gravy. I think I love competing. I love mixed martial arts. I love competing in the gym every single day. But wrestling is special. Now, obviously, learning the actual nuances of the rules when I'm training wrestling down in Florida with my team, and whether I'm wrestling with Logan Storley, multiple-time All-American, or Mitch McKee, multiple-time All-American, and these guys, you're not really thinking about the freestyle rules. You're thinking about how to wrestle as it pertains to the sport of mixed martial arts, whereas now I'm wrestling as it pertains to actual international wrestling and what the scoring system is like. What does the turn look like? What's feet to back look like? What is the push out rule, the challenge, and all these different tactics and things. So it's kind of been cool to kind of show back up as a walk-on again. I walked on to the University of Missouri when I was 18 years old and kind of just had the whole world at my fingertips, but I was also scared to death, and I was trying to learn how to become a college wrestler. And now 16 years later, I guess 20 years later, I get to go into the sport of freestyle wrestling on a big stage, on a big mat, on Fox Nation, with the entire wrestling world looking and watching, to just show up as another walk-on again, trying to learn the rules and learn the tactics. So, it's exciting, man. It's cool because we need challenges in life, and it does scare me a little bit. But I've been wrestling ever since, and wrestling is ingrained in me, and I love the sport of wrestling, and I love wrestling when I'm training, and I love putting together a training camp to go beat up Chad Mendes.
Is this a one-off with them?
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think we'll see what we never know what the future holds. The future is up in the air right now when it comes to when is the next fight? Who is the next, when is the White House card? Who's the next opponent? What's going on? All that stuff. Obviously, it's all under wraps right now. But I like to stay in shape. I like to keep competing. Obviously, I'm doing a ton of business stuff, and obviously, we alluded to Roadhouse. So that's keeping me busy as well. So I got a lot of things going on, and a wrestling match at the end of November, right after Thanksgiving, sure makes a lot of sense. Go out there and compete.
Yeah, is that annoying that it's 2 days after Thanksgiving?
A little bit, but I think I gave up the notion of ever having a Christmas dinner or a Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, I've missed more Thanksgivings in my life than I've actually participated in, because I have fought every single year basically, and wrestled every single year since I was 14 years old. I've either wrestled or fought in November since I was 14 years old. So it's one of those things where, man, holidays are great and they're fun, and I love to get together with the family. We'll celebrate, and I'll watch my kids and my wife eat a big old turkey feast, and I'll just have to be a little bit more disciplined and go run a couple miles and cut the weight. But luckily, the match is at 175 too, so it's not
Oh, okay,
not a
okay.
crazy. Yeah, it's not a crazy weight cut, and that was kind of part of it too. It's like, hey, I'd rather compete closer to my natural weight.
By the
Cut
way,
a little bit, but not too much.
with something like this, do you have to get permission from the UFC, or are you allowed to just do anything as long as it's not MMA?
I'm the kind of guy where I'm always I'm not a it's some places in my life I'm going to ask for forgiveness, not permission kind of guy. But when it comes to, hey, I'm going to go compete in another type of sport, it's not mixed martial arts. Obviously, I let the UFC know, asked for their blessing, and they had no problem with it. They gave me the thumbs up, and now we get to go compete.
Okay. By the way, you had mentioned 175, and that made me think, oh, 175, getting you ready for a potential 170-pound fight down the line. Is there any connection between the two?
No connection between the two. I mean,
Okay.
obviously, I weigh more than 175 right now. I'm up in the 80s, but I'm slowly bringing it down ever since I knew this wrestling match was going to come to fruition. Started to get into a training camp, start eating, not as calorie deficit like I am when I'm making 155, but leaning out, getting in shape. And yeah, I mean, 170 at the White House sometime in, I don't know, spring, summer,
Yes.
whatever the heck it is, that's the goal. That has always been the goal ever since this thing got announced, ever since Conor said, Conor got back in the testing pool and Conor said he's coming back and wants to fight at the White House. So no updates really. But that's what I got my sights set on.
Okay, so here's the thing. You're now back into that period where it doesn't make sense to take another fight, right? Like you're so close to this date, even though we're still, let's say, 5-6 months away, it doesn't make sense. So are you now back to that, like, I'm now waiting to see how this plays out?
Yeah, I am. And
And does it feel familiar to you, this feeling?
A little bit, but the way I see it too is we'll get some answers in pretty short order here, and then we can make a decision. Like everybody knows, I am notorious for being the guy who's in shape at all times. I can jump into a training camp 6 weeks, 8 weeks notice. So if it doesn't look like it's heading in that direction, it's going to be pretty darn easy to jump into a training camp and fight somebody else on the White House card, fight somebody else somewhere else, who knows. But right now, just like last time when there was a little bit of a wait and a lull, one thing that people often overlook was that I went 2 years without a UFC paycheck and didn't have a problem with it. So, and that's just a testament to setting my life up in a way in which I have a multiple revenue streams and I have a solid reputation, and not just in the sport, but just amongst my business partners. And there's a lot of ways to make a living outside of just getting punched in the head in the UFC octagon. But that is one of my favorite things to do in my entire life. So I'm excited to do it. And I pray to God that it's at the UFC White House lawn.
What are you feeling right now? I spoke to Conor in our film. He said it's Chandler. He also said I signed, but then he clarified, like, I haven't really signed. But he's off social media and it's been several weeks now. Are you feeling confident about this?
I think, yeah, like you said, he hadn't signed, but he said it was a done deal.
Yeah.
And done deal reminds you of Conor circa 2016, circa 2017, but 2014, back in the heyday when it was like, hey, my life and what I do is a done deal. I'm 100% fully focused. I don't care who they throw at me, whether it's Chad Mendes on a week's notice after Jose Aldo pulls out, or the Nate Diaz debacle when that was a 10-day notice or whatever. He was in any person, anytime, anywhere. It's a done deal. Conor McGregor, is he that guy? We don't know. But in his mind, it sounds like it's a done deal, that's what he wants. I'm the guy he wants to fight at the White House on the lawn. Fight makes a ton of sense. He's a man of his word. And we have a contract that was signed and then ripped up because of his doing. So I do feel more confident about it. And I do, I'm not hanging my hat on it. I hold everything with open arms, man. Pray for wisdom every single day. And I know that it's going to work out the way that it's supposed to work out. And I'm just going to keep myself busy between now and then. Obviously, the wrestling match, Roadhouse, the book, just signed a contract for documentary today. So we're doing all kinds of cool stuff, man. And I I was put in this sport for a reason, and it's always been the same goal: make people feel something when I fight, and also change the view of what people think a mixed martial artist is. And I've tried to make good on that promise, and we're going to keep on doing some really cool things.
Okay, so first of all, the book, what is that about?
The book is going to be somewhat my story, but diving deep into the principles and lessons that I've learned over the last 25 years, 26 years of hand-to-hand combat, from high school wrestler to walk on at the University of Missouri, never a state champion, didn't really deserve to be there or felt like I deserved to be there, and then ended up becoming an All-American, and then betting on myself to go into going to mixed martial arts, winning world titles, losing world titles, and then betting on myself to leave Bellator and then go to the UFC, and then how it's all worked out and panned out really, really, really well. I by no means think that I have the perfect blueprint for a young man out there, but I do think there's a lot of lessons and principles that young men, especially out there, who are looking for a purpose, who are looking for a blueprint and a way to live their life, to operate, and ultimately win in the end. That's why that's why I wrote the book. We just got done with it. We're putting the final touches on it, and then we'll also do a documentary coinciding with it.
Okay, so the documentary is about the same type of stuff discussed in the book?
Similar, but obviously we'll bring a lot of different voices in, interviews of people and the way that they have seen how my career has played out, who I am behind the scenes, the things and the moments of my career and of my life that have impacted them and touched them, that are way different and far and away from just the punches, kicks, knees, and elbows and the performances inside of the octagon, because ultimately it's so much bigger than just the wins and the losses. It always has been. And, I take flack for losing some fights or falling short or never winning the UFC world title or whatever it is. But ultimately, a man can rest easy at night and lay his head on the pillow knowing that he did every single thing possible within his power to become the best version of himself. And I've tried to do that since day one. So we'll bring in a lot of voices. We'll document the next training camp. Praying to God that it is heading up to the White House, crescendo, climaxing at the White House. So we'll see. But I've got some great partners on it, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
By the way, you're one of the more perfect people to ask this question. Very recently, Ronda Rousey was on a podcast talking about MMA fans. I don't know if you saw this, and she basically said, like, MMA fans treat UFC legends like shit. You lose a fight, you ain't shit, you never were shit. You, to me, are the perfect example of this. You've had some big wins, you've had some tough losses, but I still feel like the fans love you and respect you. And so when you hear that from her, I don't know if you heard these comments, but do you feel like the fans turn on you when you lose a big fight? When you fight Justin Gaethje at Madison Square Garden and have an incredible fight, or Dustin Poirier, do you feel like they treat you like shit afterwards?
A little bit. Ultimately, and I've said this a million times, man. We are just human beings. I know we are looked at like gladiators and gods and infallible, crazy, superhuman superheroes, but we are just human beings. So it does, hurt at times to hear people and hear their comments and hear the way that they want to throw salt on a wound after a loss. But it's also what we chose. We chose this life. We know what we signed up for. Pressure is a privilege, and being on a platform is a privilege. So we know what we signed up for. It also depends on the demeanor of the individual. I think Ronda was self-proclaimed and would say, and I would say this to her, I think she was kind of the bad guy, right? She kind of was, she was sweet here and there, but ultimately, she kind of had this, F you type of mentality, and she was, somewhat of a bully, and that was kind of her brand, and it was cool. Like, I don't give a damn about my reputation.
Right,
that was an awesome song, right? So that was part of who she is. And I think my brand, or I hate to say brand because it sounds like I created something and that's what I want people to think. I just am who I am. And at my core, I'm just a guy who, I'm not supposed to be here. I showed up, walked on to University of Missouri, showed up at Lake of the Ozarks in 2009, tried this thing called mixed martial arts, and it turned into this beautiful, awesome career that I've enjoyed. And I've always just enjoyed being more positive and trying to create more connections with fans than I have throwing up the middle finger and just being like, I don't care what you think about me, because I kind of do. And that's not a people pleaser mentality. I think that's the building of the platform and the building of the testimony that I ultimately want to continue to convey on this masterpiece that I'm painting throughout my career. So I think there is merit in what she said, because they are some vile, ignorant, mean individuals after a man or a woman just gets knocked out or submitted or loses in their greatest moment of opportunity, which then also sometimes becomes their darkest hour. But I think ultimately it's just the brand that you carry, so to speak. And mine's a little bit different than Ronda's, but I got a ton of respect for her. Love watching her fight. But there's some merit to it.
I just don't know if it's MMA specific. I think that just might be social media, right? If you falter on an NFL big stage, you're getting that crap too, no?
Yeah. I mean, you're more romantic about the sport, and I am, because we are in it. So of course that's our frame of reference. But ultimately, yeah, man, it's just people are the worst kind of humans. That's what you got. That's what you got to, that's what you got to, it all boils down to, man. And that's, kind of in real life, but less in real life, but more on social media, man. People got no problem just throwing out some hate or throwing out some venom or throwing out some stuff and not really thinking about that there's a human being eyeballs on the other side and they're going to, ingest it. But ultimately, man, it's just it's every sport. And people are invested. And also there's the betting culture now where it's like, hey, not only did I want you to win and you lost, so I'm mad at you that, but also I wanted you to win and I put money on you, so therefore now I lost money, so now I'm mad at you. The amount of times I've had people be like, hey man, you lost me money. I'm like, I don't care. I didn't lose you money. You lost you money.
Yeah.
So
crazy times with this gambling stuff, huh?
Yeah, I guess I just
you just opened the door.
On accident. Yeah, I just opened the door. I mean, yeah, I really don't know much about it. I didn't see those fights. I was in shooting in an undisclosed location. I don't know if that's been made public or whatever, but shooting the Roadhouse movie, so it was time change and stuff. So I didn't watch the fights. Did not even hear about that particular fight necessarily, but then obviously we're seeing it now, so. It all comes out in the wash, man. So we'll see how it all plays out.
I understand. Just a couple more, and I'll let you go. Since it's your weight class, at least for now. By the way, you think the Conor fight, if it happens, is at 170? That hasn't really been discussed because we're kind of waiting for it to all play out. But the first one was at 170, right?
Yeah, it hasn't been discussed. I would guess it's at 170.
Okay.
But just like last time, and I took flack for it because people called me a brown noser and a guy who just rolls over. But I'll fight him at 155, 170, 185. I don't care. It doesn't really matter. The weight class has never mattered. Conor and I are about the same size. So whether we want to cut weight to 155 or we want to stay our natural weight at 185 or we meet somewhere in the middle, doesn't matter to me.
The reason I bring that up is your weight class, there's a bit of a two-horse race right now. Paddy, Justin against Ilia. If it was up to you, who deserves it?
God, it's a freaking tough question, man. I've already gone on record and said I'm Gaethje, man.
Okay.
But ultimately, there's a lot of different arguments you can make. Paddy has never had a title shot. Paddy is newer. Justin Gaethje has proven himself against the toughest guys in the world, and fight after fight is fight of the night after fight of the night, fight of the year after fight of the year. But he has had a couple title shots, a couple opportunities here and there. So it's a tough one. That's why I am not a promoter. Do not want that job, and it's a tough decision. But they will make the right decision for them and the right decision for the biggest fight possible. With that being said, I'd like to see it go to Gaethje, but then again, I would not be surprised whatsoever if it's Paddy versus Ilia, whenever it is.
Does either beat Ilia, in your opinion?
No. I think Ilia Topuria is the most skilled guy in mixed martial arts on the planet. He did steal my line the other day when he said, see me at the top.
Oh.
But with that being said, he wrote that cryptic message.
Oh, yeah. TM.
I'm like, this dog up here stealing my lines. But with that being said, I think he's the most skilled guy on the entire planet. Him and Alex Pereira, obviously, are just absolute monsters. But I think Ilia's got the edge in that one.
How do you think Islam does next weekend?
JDM is a tough. He's not much of a puzzle, man. He's pretty basic, but he is brilliant and violent and devastating with the basics, man. A little bit of range, a little bit of reach on Islam, and I won't even sit there and say, because Islam's a different breed, man. I wouldn't sit there and say, oh, he's a 155er, so he's not used to going with 170 pounders. I would not be surprised if Islam, his entire career, has been sparring with 55, 70, 185, and 205ers because the dude's kind of a nut. So I think I don't think strength or size is going to be the problem. It's really going to be the dichotomy between JDM's great striking abilities, and is his takedown defense enough to stop the onslaught of wrestling that Islam's going to bring? Because I do think, even the stand-up battle against Poirier does hit hard, because I witnessed that and felt it firsthand, but there's no way he hits as hard as JDM. So I think it'll be interesting, man. I think Islam's going to get tagged up a couple times, and we're going to see if he goes to that wrestling pretty quick. But I think JDM's a monster, man. I think I give JDM the slight favor, or the slight nod in that one. But I would not be surprised if Islam is holding the belt, and then now you got a whole nother conundrum where you got Ilia and him wanting the super fight and all that stuff. So we'll see what happens, man. Crazy sport.
Crazy sport. We'll end on this. And I'll ask it in a different way, because I like you two very, very much. Is there a moment on set you and Dustin shake hands, bygones be bygones? Was there any of that? Break bread? Any interactions?
There was.
There was?
It was good. Yeah, it was
good interaction. Tell us.
No, it's good interactions. I mean, well, first of all, we have an international peace treaty too. So like once you go to a foreign land, anything that happened in your homeland goes away.
Okay.
But no, I mean, it's one of those deals where, number one, even if he hates my guts and I hate his guts, which is not really true, we've just had some disagreements here and there, the respect that Dustin operates with and the respect that I operate with, we're not there to make it about us. You think I'm going to disrespect Jake Gyllenhaal and Josh and the production and all the stuff by starting something with Dustin, or him doing the same thing with me? It was cordial. It was even more than cordial. It was, bringing up stuff about our fight, and talking about disagreements, because obviously you got buffers there too.
Yeah.
You got Tyrant, you got Wonder Boy, you got MVP, you got all us kind of talking, and we're talking as fighters. Like, oh yeah, remember that time, we did that, it was cool. Man. It was fine. And he's a stud, and I wish him well in his retirement. I was very happy to hear that he was, coming on set and going to be in the movie. So it's going to be good, man. It's going to be a really, really, really good movie with some really awesome people involved and attached. So you saw some of the other names: Dave Bautista,
wow,
Peter Sarsgaard, who's a stud, man. So it's going to be cool.
Okay, looking forward to that. For now, looking forward to November 29th, Wintrust Arena in Chicago. Weekend of Thanksgiving. Usually there aren't a lot of big events going on in combat sports. You'll get one November 29th exclusively on Fox Nation. Chad Mendes, Money Mendes against Michael Chandler. A dream match of sorts. WEC versus Bellator from back in the day. Love it. Thank you so much, Mike. Good luck in training and good luck in the match.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Ariel. See you at the top.
All the best. There he is, the great Michael Chandler, who also, by the way, has his own YouTube channel right now, Walk on Wisdom, I do believe it's called. And you could check it out right over there. Iron Mike doing his thing. So looking forward to that. Didn't know Batista was in Roadhouse 4, as we're calling it.
Really fleshing out, man. I love it.
Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.